driving down the same old strip. I gotta find a new place where the kids are hip. I get around, I get around.
Models on the show. Jimmy Gartell down one and Nat Fyfe next to me. Welcome.
Thank you. Not great viewing, that.
Oh, it's good for a lot of our audience. Tell me, surfing or kiteboarding, which you prefer?
More surfing, definitely a recreational level surfer. Kite surfing more in the summer, though.
We had the road train there. Have you got your helicopter licence yet?
I do. I've had it for a few years.
We neglected to put that on.
Is it true you failed your first test?
In the helicopter? This is not true.
Oh, okay.
If I failed my first test, I probably wouldn't be here, I reckon.
That's a good point. Hey, we saw an ad you were doing for Adidas the other day. Serious talent. Just have a look.
Oh, shit. Someone turn that off, please. It's supposed to be off. Stop there. Grab the light and
Just like that.
With my kicking efficiency, you can imagine how many goes that took.
I tell you what, you're in good company. When you've got your own ad, you're in good shape. But I think it was almost a play on Roger Federer, the great man. So if you and Roger both doing similar ads, you're going well, aren't you?
Did that one come out after the Adidas one? Maybe? Maybe you saw it and copied it. Who knows?
Yeah, well, either way, a bit of fun, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate.
In the 8, going okay. We're going to have a quick look at the game, but there's no top knot at the moment. I thought we were keeping that for commercial purposes.
There's some other commercial things bubbling away.
So it's gone for those?
Well, it's gone. I mean, my hair length at the moment's got no idea what it's doing. It's sort of neither here nor there. So
yeah, in no man's land.
It's in the middle, yeah.
Okay. I want to talk a bit about, Jim talked about Max Gawn and Sean Darcy. Sean Darcy becomes a really important player for Freo moving forward. Sanderland's not sure when he's coming back, and then Rory Lobb as well. How have you seen his development, and more poignantly on yesterday's performance against Max Gawn?
Yeah, it was an enormous job for Sean yesterday, coming up against one of the best ruckmen in the competition. He had a great performance last week, Sean, and a big last quarter. I thought early in the game they were going head-to-head well and probably halving the contest, but as the game wore on, as Jim said, Max managed to get on top and hit it forward a lot and really open up those clearances.
You mentioned Jesse Hogan. He looked pretty upset and distraught on the bench. There was obviously lots of cameras focusing on him. How is he feeling around the group? Because it must be incredibly frustrating. He wants to make an impact at the new club. He sort of just can't get rolling at the moment.
Yeah, there's probably an emotional build-up to the week for Jess, playing against his old team and wanting to put in a good performance. We're not sure exactly the extent of the injury just yet. He'll have scans at the first half of this week. We're hopeful that it's okay. He's starting to find some form with us and some consistency with his preparation, so we're hopeful he's not out for too long.
You're third in the Brownlow betting at this stage. Looks like your body's good, you're moving well. How have you found your season?
I've sort of been building as the year's gone on, Hodgie. I think with Sonny Walters and a couple of our other midfielders, Dave Mundy, having really good seasons, it's allowed me to play a more workman, wholesome type of role. We've got Reece Conker now and Darcy Tucker who are providing some balance to our midfield. My body feels pretty good. Last couple of years I've only managed to play half a season, and the goal is to get all the way through the year.
Your body feels good, mate. Minor operation on that elbow in the off-season. What round are we up to now? And I can't see the reason why. We've still got the black sleeve on. Are we looking for one of these commercial opportunities?
It's a bit of carry-on, isn't it, really? We trialled a number of things across the pre-season to get that protection on the elbow. I've worn the brace every game bar two. The 2 games I didn't wear it, I got concussed in one and landed on it heavily and it swelled up afterwards. And the other reason is my grandma out in Lake Grace on the farm watching the footy on the TV. If I take it off, she can't spot me on the TV. So she wants me to leave it on.
Very good.
It's like the Auskicker on a Friday night. They all wear either blue or red socks, except the one they're going to interview, so the cameras can find the one and film. So that's for you, Gran, obviously. Michael Walters, another 3. He's in rare form at the moment.
Yeah, he's an impressive player, and I guess we're spoilt over in the West. We get to see him every week. If he was playing over here, there'd be discussions around him being the best handful of players in the competition. He just kicks goals at important moments every week. I think what people don't understand with Sonny is he gets so much niggle off the ball. People terrorise him all game, and for him to be playing the sort of footy he is a credit to his preparation.
Has he done anything differently or taken his games to a particular area that's now making him or being recognised everywhere as being elite?
I think the flexibility to play more midfield minutes and then be able to get forward. He's a natural forward, but he can find the footy up around that 20-30 disposal mark when he comes in and plays midfield as well.
Yeah, and he's obviously a huge contributor, but his temperament can sometimes just flick the switch and that temperature gauge can just go a bit high. With Jack Viney yesterday, how did you see that? And obviously he's on charge. headbutting.
Not for this. Just have a look at this. So he takes on Viney here. He's one bloke in the AFL, Hodgie, you don't want to run into.
Pound for pound, Jack Vine is one of the stronger blokes.
Yeah, he's a bit of a bull jack. There's a couple of guys there that play their footy on the edge, and that's what makes them good players. And it was a good duel all day. I haven't actually seen the incident, so I'm not sure what'll happen in regards to that.
Yeah, the vision's just about to come up. I teed this up earlier for you. That's where I was sitting. That's with my camera phone behind the goals. So have a good look at it. But yeah, your take, has Ross talked about it all? Or?
He hasn't. I'm not sure there's much in that. I can't really comment, to be honest.
As skipper, have you looked forward towards the games you got coming up? You've got Carlton in Perth next week. Do you know sort of where you're tracking? I know a lot of clubs look at 2 to 3 weeks ahead, but have you forecast out the year much?
Not far, Jim, to be honest. Carlton next week and then the Derby, so a couple of weeks at home, which helps us with our travel preparations. We'd like to get home and put in a good performance, and we've got a few injury concerns, guys that didn't get through yesterday and a few guys that got through the game but were carrying a few injuries. So we're going to need the guys that are playing down at Peel for us to really step up and help fill that void in the last half of the year.
Who's most likely to come in and replace Jesse Hogan? Will it be a like-for-like with McCarthy?
It's a good question. Maybe McCarthy. We've got some midfielders playing pretty well that are taller, like a Bailey Banfield who's playing down in the twos. Not exactly sure who will come in.
You'd love to be where the Cats are, and that's just on top. But 7 and 6, you're sort of halfway pleased with where the Dockers are?
Yeah, I think there's been some good signs. Coming off the back of a loss yesterday, it's still quite raw and fresh in the mind that there's so much we need to improve on. But going into the bye 2 weeks ago, at 7-5, playing some pretty consistent footy, I think there's some real growth signs with that club.
Red Dog. I don't actually want to give away the title. It'll be in some format, probably a documentary, I'd say. I like John Florence, the surfer. Like, he would be, he'd probably be the guy I'd love to meet and surf with. No, I'm not marrying John. No, I'm not on Twitter because I sort of, my feel is that most people on Twitter are pretty cruel people. I'm sure there's some lovely people on Twitter, but I just avoid it. Matt DeBoer, he's a gentleman. And he's a rooster too.
My praise for Matty DeBoer. Almost the ultimate praise because you wanted to battle that.
Yeah, he'd be a good man to pick, I reckon.
Now, our production team have been working overtime since you said your hair's in no man's land. So what they put together is your hair through time. Pick your favourite dude. And is it true your old man, is it David?
David, yep.
He didn't like the hair bun, did he?
No.
Man bun?
No.
I think it's true, Hodgie. No man bun has ever won an AFL premiership.
Is that true?
Well, Josh Kay, our researcher, put that down.
Is that right?
I'm not sure, but
fact.
can you never bring back the shag?
Which is the shag?
Which are you most disappointed with?
The shag was when I was playing my best footy.
It looks like a wig.
Why don't you bring the shag back?
Well, it's nearly there, I'm telling you.
Talking about, I saw good hair on Friday night. Kirky, Sewer Fox. He had a big role to play, did he not, with you sort of reshaping how you treated your mornings and led the club?
Absolutely, yeah. Brett, I've spoken about him a number of times. His influence on me and my awareness and leadership and growth as a person has been enormous, and I try and keep in contact with him where I can.
He said you've got to become a morning person. And then you have. What was the rationale for that?
Yeah, Mick can probably comment on this, but I used to not rate the mornings and sort of take some time to come up to speed before I actually started engaging with people properly. And at a footy club, or any environment really, you need to be on from the start. And so I started getting up earlier and building the beach into my morning routine, and that was about 6 years ago.
And it really helped.
And it really helped.
Good.
Nath, I've talked about this a bit on this show. Ross Lyon, someone spiked his green tea this year and he's just acting a little bit different to what we were used to in our time at Fremantle together. But this lovey-dovey type of stuff over he goes to all of you boys. What's been the change from your end there? And do you enjoy this new hands-on approach from the coach?
How could you not?
Oh, I love it, absolutely. I think he's just enjoying his time. We've got a young group now that I guess they're not as scared of him as probably we were back in the day.
Petrified.
Luke Ryan and Brendan Cox, they just have a laugh with him most of the time. So to see him embracing the young players and just showing that human side of Rossi is a good thing. You've texted me about this a number of times. I'm thinking maybe you might be a bit jealous. You never got any hugs.
Well, I'm waiting for that text from Ross. No, Ross, I love
You
Ross,
said
but
petrified. Were you intimidated by Ross when you played?
Not really. I had a good working professional relationship with him and had some really good conversations on a personal level.
You didn't see this new Ross coming?
I reckon once he put his hand on my shoulder, And I was like, yeah, that feels good.
I've made it.
It radiates warmth
And I think that's what
acceptance.
he's worked out. He's got very good professional relationships with all his players,
Yeah.
but now he's building some really good personal ones as well.
And I think that's where young guys, that's where back in the day you could rip it through a player and that's where you get the best out of them. Today, in today's football, it's give them a cuddle, make sure they're okay. If you're looking after the person as a footballer, you normally get the best person on the footy field. And I think that's what a lot of the coaches are doing well at the moment.
We're analysing Ross within an inch of his life. The players now get analysed more than ever before. If the players do what they're supposed to and no more, they're criticised. If they do more because they've been asked to do more, they get criticised. Hodgie did an interview on the side of the ground during a match and got really beaten up by the media on this. There is, at times, a very unfair balance towards the players.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think there's a pulling from both sides. Some people want more player access and they want to get more inside and behind the scenes of what's going on, and some of the media are saying, no, not so much. We want players to play the game, do your job and we'll do ours. I think there needs to be a balance constantly, and we're all trying to navigate that domain. But as a player who was starting to do a little bit more media, I definitely took note of that transaction and thought maybe I'll pull back.
I'll do that interview again because it's not from the media who see the people all the time and understand it. It's for the people who come up who only watch at home and say, I didn't see the game like that, or I didn't understand that side of it. So you've had kids who come up and talk to you about the game because they saw the interview. You had people who understood what we're thinking during the game, because I think it was a Collingwood one where I was saying how their wingers are sliding back, so we've got to squeeze in with them, and they're like, oh, I didn't understand the game like that. So I'd do it again, just the fact that people sitting at home get to understand what we're thinking.
And if you say no, we say, Hodgie won't do it, criticise him. You do it, people criticise you. I mean, it's extraordinary. Sydney State, we want characters in the game. He shouldn't have done that with Eddie Betts. Like, you cannot win.
It's hard, but you're right. We do want to celebrate that individuality, and we want to bring a bit of life and vibe. And at the end of the day, we are playing footy. We all take it very seriously, but we are playing footy.
Yep. Okay. Sunday score. Best two teams in the comp. This is how it works. You just write something down. It's got to be what you genuinely believe. Best two teams in the comp. Jimmy, the board member says Giants, and the former three-time premiership player says Cats. That's not bad. Hodgie? Lions. The long end of Lions. Lions.
3 from 3 here.
That it is. Oh, smart. Smart. So Cats seemingly get the nod as they should on top of the table. Which assistant coach right now is ready to coach? Hodgie spoke to one of the audience members earlier and said if he was asked to coach next year, would he? No, I absolutely need experience as an assistant coach. Jimmy says Hodgie.
He's an assistant coach
You've had
already.
2 years assistant coaching. Yeah. You're ready, Hodgie.
John Barker for me, mate.
Chris Newman, reigning VFL Premiership coach, Box Hill.
Righto.
And David Hale, our ball movement and forwards coach.
Okay, during the week, the AFL had a pretty big week, it's fair to say. Jaden Stevenson ended up with 22 weeks, 12 suspended, 10 plus a $20,000 fine. If you were in charge of the penalty, Hodgie, you would have given him 10, 4, 10...
No comment.
Very clever.
Good, mate. You are good.
Aaron Sandilands ever going to play again? I know it says calf in the injury list. With Aaron given so big, it should be like steer or heifer or something. It'd be like it's a cow in there. Is it really problematic?
Well, it has been a long time out, but the signs are quite promising. I don't want to put anything out there that hasn't been officially put on record, but
It's on the up.
he's end stage with his rehab. He'll do another couple of weeks of that sort of work, and then hopefully he's ready for selection.
Great.
One last one on the injury front. Harley Bennell yesterday, Peel Thunder, reports, leaving game on crutches. Your knowledge of what's going on there?
Had a wretched run, Harley. Just started to come back and play 4 games. I think we're saying it's a lower leg injury, and he'll get scanned either today or tomorrow. So again, fingers crossed, but real disappointing for Harley.
Hayden Ballantyne, very good player, very good horse trainer. Yes. Mankind, couple of Wednesdays ago. This is, all the players, I think, crush it from $11 into $3.60. Gamble responsibly, obviously. That's his first win.
It is his first win. The boys have been having a lot of fun with the horse. I think there's about 10 of them that are in on this horse, and Ballas is training it. It had a few slow starts at its first couple, but its last 2 races it won and came second down in Northam during the week.
That's awesome. Quick hands before we let you jump on a plane. Is it true you listen to Talkback Radio on match day to take you back to childhood?
Yeah, either Talkback or a bit of old Johnny Cash or Creedence Clearwater Revival, something like that. I don't do the pump-up stuff. There's enough of that goes on.
Nath, is it true you had regular performance reviews within your household with your housemates, leading team style with Alex Pearce, Cam Sutcliffe and Griff Lowe?
Yes, that is true. and the feedback was both ways.
Yeah.
Is it true you hated the Dockers growing up?
I was a Richmond man through and through. I tried to get to the Richmond Footy Club a number of times. They never wanted me, and I wasn't the number one fan of Freo, but that's all changed now.
We've seen you driving the family trucks. Is it true to take over that business one day down at Lake Grace?
That is. My brother won't be watching this because he doesn't follow footy, but he's in the box seat at the moment, but I'm clipping at his heels.
Why Tigers fan?
Mainly because my next door neighbour, Cale Morton, barracked for the Tigers. So if he did it, I thought I'd do it as well.
And it's a good song.
Yes,
It's a
great
good
song.
And Richo. So.
Yeah, he's a gun. Thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Nat Fyfe, have a great game in football.